Oh, that worked. We are live.
Okay, I just had to click it enough times.
Hopefully there's no failure on this end or anything like that.
And I'm upside down. There we go.
Blah, blah.
Super professional here.
Super. Only the best. We can edit that out later.
Not on the YouTube side.
Right, no, that's true.
So yeah, we're live on YouTube, so we better get going. Um, all right. Are you recording?
I am recording.
Me as well. All right, let's do it.
Let's go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Captain's Quarters, the unofficial Star Trek rewatch podcast where we are rewatching the entire Star Trek franchise, working our way through the entire chronology, starting from Enterprise. We did a couple of seasons of Disco, and we've moved on to Strange New Worlds. And we are just starting Strange New Worlds season two, episode one, called The Broken Circle. And my name is Gabe. I'm with my co-captain Jason. Jason, this episode featured a couple of engage type sayings of captains. I believe
Mm-hmm.
Spock's was, I would like this ship to go now.
Yep.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
What would be yours?
I would go with Ortega's Vamanos.
Ominous.
She's like, I've been workshopping Vamanos, which I appreciate.
I mean, it technically is the first command when you become captain, more or less, right? You know.
What is Kirk's, by the way?
Uh, that's a good question. I think he had a couple. I think he was engage, take us
Hmm.
out, couple others.
Is Picard make it so?
Make it so for other things, but mostly it's engage.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. So we're going to do the very brief synopsis thanks to memoryalphafandom.com. A distress call from Lieutenant Noonien Singh compels Spock to disobey orders and take the USS Enterprise and its crew into disputed space, risking renewed hostilities with the Klingons in a bid to aid their shipment.
Mate.
Yeah, scrolled away as I was reading. Their shipmate. Thank you.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, Jason, this
Yes, sir.
episode was amazing. I freaking loved this episode.
I figured you would. Yes.
At risk of sounding like a favorite episode slut, because I've said this before, but I seriously think this might be my favorite episode that
Okay.
we've
It's a
ever
good
covered.
one. It's a good one. It's a good one. It's a really good one.
Yeah. So in this episode, Pike goes away. He's trying to find someone who's going to help number one because she got caught lying about her background. So she's going to get expelled from Starfleet. Um, so I have a bunch of questions for you, buddy. You don't have to answer them now, but question number one, who's he going to look for? All right, so he leaves. That leaves Spock in charge. As the synopsis said, they got a message from La'an. Question number
Maybe,
two,
maybe
yeah,
it's La'an.
maybe.
We don't know.
Question number two is why was she just allowed to leave? Is that protocol? You can just leave on some personal
Yeah,
errand?
so
Hold on,
yeah.
no, don't
Okay.
answer, don't answer.
Oh,
We're
okay, okay, all right.
we're gonna stack all the questions up,
All
and then
right,
we'll get
okay,
into
okay.
it.
All right, okay,
Okay.
okay.
All right, so Spock believes that it is La'an, and not, some trap by the Klingons or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so he devises a plan to steal the Enterprise. And this episode has a lot of allusions to the fact that Klingons cannot lie, which we know is not really
Vulcans,
true.
Vulcans, Vulcans.
Vulcans, damn it. Strike two. At strike three, you have to take over. Vulcans can't lie, which we know that the T'Pol lied quite a bit. But that's part of the lore of Vulcans, and that was obviously an allusion to that and some world building there. So um, they devise a plan where they're going to make it look like there's something wrong with engineering. They basically fake it, and they're going to use that as an excuse to take the Enterprise away. But then a new engineer comes on, and she teaches a class on Starfleet, warp systems, etc. She says that she hasn't left like in 100 years, so now we know she's long lived. So that's my third question:
Mm-hmm.
is does this species were they established in a prior show, etc.? And so then she tells them how to effectively trick Starfleet into jettisoning the Enterprise so that they can warp away. And basically, they start leaking like dilithium and or whatever. And then that Starfleet's like, disengage. You got to get out. You're going to blow up the whole because they're docked you know, in a port. Um, so they get away. The Starfleet is not having this whole story with La'an. They're like, no, this could be a trap. And the thing is that the planet where La'an is, Kajitar 4, I believe it's called, um, is a no man's land sort of thing where it supplies dilithium to the Klingon Federation and a Starfleet. And so what they do is they rotate. So after the war, they had a treaty. Sometimes the Klingons get to mine it, sometimes Starfleet gets to mine it. So they go there. La'an was looking for the girl who was attacked by the Gorn and her family. And she tells them that after the war, the mining syndicate was not too thrilled about this peace treaty because it hurt their profits. So they're trying to reignite the war because it was better for profits. And so while while the away team is down on the planet, they run into these gangster mobster mining syndicate sort of thugs, and it turns out they have an obsession with Starfleet technology. They have a Starfleet ship, and their plan is to launch it in a way that starts a war with the Klingons. And by the way, this mining syndicate is made up of Klingons and ex-Starfleet officers. Um, and so, on one hand, they, Dr. Mbenga and Nurse Chapel are going to try to heal some people who were hurt by some proton torpedoes, but they get kind of tangled up with the mining syndicate, and they make their way onto the ship, and they the ship takes off from from the planet in the sort of heat of a battle. And now we have a problem because this ship was a secret from the Klingons. Now it's visible to them. The Enterprise is now hiding in an asteroid belt, and Spock at the helm knows that if the Klingons see Starfleet ship, it's going to start the war. This cannot happen. And so he has to make the decision to destroy the ship with Nurse Chapel on board. And so here comes my fourth question, which is he still engaged? What happened to his fiance? And so, but he clearly has feelings for Chapel. I won't go as far to say if there's romantic, but I'll let Jason answer that. Um, he's literally like in tears over this decision to basically have to blow up the ship with Nurse Chapel on it and prevent a war. And he does the logical thing and he blows up the ship. Luckily, Mbenga and Chapel um, had found something that had a beacon on it, and they surmise they can last about a minute in space. And so when the ship blows up, the beacon goes off. They get transported onto the Enterprise because the signal goes off. They lock onto them, transport them in. Spock does CPR and revives Chapel. And again, you could tell he's shaken, he's sad, he's crying. Um, and yeah, so those are the broad strokes. I guess maybe my last question is about blood wine and the
Mhm.
history and lore about that. And tell me it's not the blood of the people Klingons killed.
We don't know. I don't know. It's
Okay.
just what they call it, and it's red, but yeah, we don't know. Hopefully not.
So Spock, so after they destroy the ship, transport Mbenga and Chapel onto the Enterprise, they hail the Klingons. The Klingons are like, "This was an act of war. You're covering up your tracks." And then Spock pulls out the Vulcans can't lie. I'm telling you the truth, even though he's telling a bold-faced lie to the Klingon. And he said, and then the Klingon says something like, "I don't take anyone's word unless I can look in their eyes." And then he's like, "Fine, why don't we do it over a barrel of blood wine?" So they go and have a barrel of blood wine. Spock does, and he gets drunk and he's stumbling, and it's pretty funny, but it works. The Klingons believe him. They're impressed by his ability to drink. They buy the fact that Vulcans can't lie, and Spock saved the day. So there you go.
That was great. You should
Uh,
write, like I said, I mean, you should write the playbill. You should write the synopsis for Playbill. The Broadway
I should.
Playbill. You should.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was great.
definitely. Clearly, I'm gifted at that part of it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what's up with La'an?
Yeah, so if you remember, as you talked about that, that she's looking for the parents of this young girl,
Hmm.
and in the season, okay, is it the season finale? Yeah, it's the season finale of season one. No, it's the penultimate episode where Hemmer dies. At the end of
Hmm.
that episode,
Yeah,
La'an asks Pike for leave of absence to go find this girl's parents, and this is where we've caught up with her.
got
We're
it.
just catching up with her, yeah.
Okay, I did
Hmm.
forget that. And is this a thing? You can just leave your post?
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. Just like in, US Navy or wherever, you can definitely leave your post with the captain's permission for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know you could do that in the Navy.
Yeah, I think you can. I'm pretty sure you can.
I thought that would be a hell no, unless it was FMLA or something.
Right. I mean, again, I think it's up to the ca in this situation. I'm not going to speak for U.S. Navy, but in this situation, Pike gave her um the permission just because I think he knew how important it is to her. Just because it was something that she probably sees herself in this little girl, right?
Hmm.
Family attacked by the Gorn, all alone, everything like that. Starfleet came to save her. Unitarian Riley, to be more specific. But yeah. And
Okay.
and it felt like in that penultimate episode where it was like maybe she comes back, maybe she doesn't. Again, we don't know. But yeah, it was a leave of absence to do this. We'll see
Okay.
it in a we'll see it in a we'll see it in a couple other instances beyond Strange New Worlds.
I see. All right. And then my first question actually was, who is Pike going to find?
Someone I don't want to give the answer away because I think it's in the next episode, but it's someone that is going to help Una get her
Right.
get her to reinstate her back into Starfleet.
All right.
I
Well,
don't want to give it away, but let's call it legal counsel.
let me ask this. Is it someone that I know?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
It's someone
Okay.
that I don't know either. It's a completely new character.
Okay. Got it. All right. Great. Glad to hear I didn't like miss
No,
something
you didn't
because
miss anything. You didn't miss anything.
okay. Um okay, so Spock, what's
Yeah.
what's his relationship status?
You know what? the human like side is kind of taken over, obviously. Obviously, he's developed feelings for Nurse Chapel. His reticence, as you pointed out, at firing on the rogue ship, you know, potentially being the cause of her death, all that kind of stuff. Well, and Benga's too, but we're focused on Nurse Chapel.
Hmm.
At the moment, we think we know that he's still engaged
To
to
Pring.
Pring. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Um, so but there's this conflicting feelings for a coworker. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Yeah, yeah. That's all I can say at the moment,
Okay. Um
without giving too much away, obviously. But
no,
yeah,
no, 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 it's all good.
he's definitely got the feels for.
Okay. All right. Mostly I was asking like, did they break up and I missed it? I was
No, no,
okay.
no. They haven't
All
broken
right.
up. Mm-mm,
Okay.
no.
Um, okay, and then what about this long-lived engineer?
Yeah, Pelia, new species of alien that we're introduced to, and it's a fun interlinked story just because how long she's lived and been able to travel. I mean, she's formed a friendship with Amanda Grayson, so she kind of knows that Spock via his mom.
So this species was new. This was not something from.
No, new species. I think they did it just for Carol Kane, which is pretty awesome.
So I actually don't know her. Who is she?
Really?
I don't know who she is.
Okay, yeah. So she was in. So I think most famously, she was the wife of Latka from Taxi.
Okay.
Um, and I think that's where most people would know her from.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, Carol Kane. Long time like. Let me see. Let me think. Yeah, I
By the
mean,
way, she's a lanthanite.
Lanthanite. Yeah, thank you. I was trying to search for the words as I was thinking about what she's been in. Like she was in a Dog Day Afternoon.
Never saw it.
Um, did you ever see a movie called Hester Street? Or these are all like 70s movies. Not that we don't not watch 70s movies or anything like that, but
Hmm.
she was in a movie called Jumpin' Jack Flash. She was in Annie Hall, I think, a couple others. And then she's guest starred a bunch on television. She's, long time, um, kind of guest supporting actor on television.
Oh, wait,
Um,
is she the lead in Annie Hall? Because isn't that
yes.
Diane? Um, Never mind. Okay, she's the lead in Annie
Shelley
Hall.
Duvall. Huh?
She's the lead in Annie Hall.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I definitely know who that is. I've
Oh,
seen that
okay,
movie.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay, okay. Yeah. I mean, that was 50 years ago, so yep. But yeah,
Okay.
I was excited when I was like, when they axed Hemmer, I was like, they better have something pseudo spectacular, if not spectacular. And Carol Kane, absolutely. She brings a lot of humor to the show, and because she's lived so long, she's lived like many lives, and it's cool how they kind of tell those stories throughout the season.
Is she like in for the long haul? Is she the new chief engineer?
Yeah, she becomes, oh man, okay. Yeah, she becomes the new chief engineer.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty impressive that, someone in their 70s in real life playing an immortal being is going to be chief engineer. Like
Yeah.
that's that's just impressive, like in the real world.
I mean, she's the one that points out, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And so,
Why did you help us? Because it's so boring.
okay. And then, so one of the things I loved about this episode was Mbenga's arc. He's always been haunted by the war,
Yeah.
and it's to him, it's just a non-starter or anything that could lead to that again. And there's like an emotion to it for him.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the part where he's basically fighting this mining syndicate, him and Chapel inject themselves with something, and then he just has this like awesome fight sequence.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, he just transforms
Yeah.
into this sort of bookish, peaceful, like um, pacifistic, like doctor, right?
Yep.
To this like action hero.
Yep.
And I was like, man, this actor, like I could totally watch him as like a superhero or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Just like just like his facial expression as he's just beating the crap
Yeah.
out of these thugs. Um and the music that was playing during it too was awesome. And
Yeah.
um I just loved that sequence so much. But that was actually another one of my questions I forgot to ask.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember, I think it was in season two of episode two of season one, they had injected themselves as a means of disguising that they weren't um part of that group that hadn't been contacted yet.
Yep. 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 They
But
turned
but
into
I,
other aliens. Yep.
yeah, but I don't
hmm
remember any other injections. And so
No,
now I'm like,
this is a completely different one. This is kind of like, I don't know, the space equivalent to like HGH, I guess, or steroids,
yeah.
the space equivalent. And it's obviously necessary to
Mm,
do that to fight Klingons. And it makes you wonder, like, this obviously wasn't the first time since they were fighting, since Chapel and Mbenga,
mm.
fought seemingly hand-to-hand combat, in the like they played an active, I'm not gonna say more active, but a more, it wasn't just medical in the field, you know. Yeah, it wasn't just them being doctors in the battlefield. It seems like they were more actively participatory in the war against the Klingons. And the other thing I wanted to say about that was it's interesting. I love their I love Chapel and Mbenga's relationship. They are definitely like war buddies, and they will definitely die for one another, obviously,
Yeah. Hmm.
but yeah, I love that part of their relationship. It's like it's deep. They're war
Yeah.
buddies.
Yeah, I loved when he goes, "We've gotten out of worse." And she
Yeah.
goes, "No, we haven't." And he
I
goes,
want
"Ah."
I wanted them to say like, you don't know, man. You weren't there.
Okay, but the thing they injected themselves with, we haven't
Yeah.
been introduced to that yet.
No, no,
Okay,
no,
because
no.
they made it like seem like as if we had.
No, no, not that I can recall ever.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, the actor Babs
Yep.
Alusa Mukin,
Yep.
probably butchered his last name, but he was in
Okay.
Dune. He was in Dune 1 and 2. That's awesome.
The new one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I haven't seen it, so I know you have, right?
Yeah, yeah. Great
Yeah.
movies.
I'm
They're great.
still back in the 70s.
They're great movies. Really good.
70s, 80s,
Highly recommend.
70s.
The
First,
like Fincher, was it Fincher who did it? The first one?
yeah, like way back in the day.
Yeah.
70s, right?
I think it was 80s.
Oh, okay, 80s.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still back in those days.
You're still back in those days,
Yeah,
huh?
I haven't I'm not yeah. I didn't read the book, so I don't
David Lynch.
David Lynch, that's it. Yeah,
I always mix them up.
that's it.
Fincher
David
and David
Lynch.
Lynch. Okay.
Lynch. Yeah.
That was strike three.
And see to me that was like the pinnacle because it was
I
from
never saw it.
my memory, it was good.
I never saw it. It's derided as a bad movie
Oh
all the
no.
time. Yeah.
Well, that's okay. There are a lot of bad movies that I apparently like.
Yeah. I've read the book, but never saw the movie. Um, rest in peace, David Lynch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, all right. Well, again, loved this episode.
Yep.
Um, I loved all the emotional arcs with Mbenga and Spock, um, and just La'an's La'an's quest to, it's like she's trying to fix her childhood, but
Absolutely. Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah,
I'm
uh,
surprised she's passed Starfleet psychiatric clearance for duty in many ways. I'm like, it adds an interesting layer to her story and to her
mhm.
character, but I'm like, did she pass psychiatric evaluation for the for field duty? I'm not certain.
Yeah, maybe Pike gave her a free pass.
Maybe. But the other thing too is like when the little girl asks her what's she gonna do, and she looks and they pan straight to Spock. I'm like, ooh, is that a thing? Or is that no, it's just looking back at Starfleet and looking back and being like, no, I belong on the Enterprise.
Right, right.
Which it's probably the latter and not the former. It's that she belongs at Starfleet.
Agreed. Yeah. But yeah, I love the lore with, the Vulcans lying and, the Klingon, like the blood wine.
Yeah,
And um, I just absolutely loved this episode. It had everything too. It
yeah,
had hand-to-hand combat. It had a space battle. It had the thing we always talk about, the moral quandary, and
yep.
it was peak with the Nurse Chapel and Spock. It was funny. The music was great, and it was also very Star Wars because
I was about
yeah, I mean there are so many
if you
many
weren't gonna say it,
points.
I was going to.
Yeah, so when La'an is, she's trying to blend in on this mining colony, and she offers weapons to the syndicate,
Hmm.
and she says double the price from last time. And the Klingon says, "Well, what's stopping you? What's stopping me from taking those from you right now?" And she pulls out, because she's holding a thermal detonator, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
straight
yeah.
from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, and then what was the other Star Wars part? There was another part that was like, obviously the mining syndicate. I felt like it was very reminiscent of the Trade Federation.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Even the planet, I'm sorry, but even the planet, I'm like, they took that out of the Star Wars unit. Kajitar 4, I'm like, yeah, that's a straight out of like, George Lucas's unit Star Wars universe. And the Laan story, like that was very much like Han Solo,
yeah,
you know, um, bounty hunter kind of dealio. That it
yeah,
had all the Star Wars feels to that one for sure. Especially when she started drinking those guys under the table.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That exactly. That was right out of like Indiana Jones.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
just that whole adventure um trope or feeling
Yes.
of Indiana Jones, Star
Yep.
Wars. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, loved it. Again, maybe my favorite episode.
Ooh.
No gripes with it.
No gripes with it. Okay.
And I loved how it did throw these things out, these things I asked questions about without explaining them. I actually like that. I think it's cool that they sort of trust us
Yeah.
to watch it and not get hung up on it.
Yep.
It still moves along, and you don't like need to know
Yep.
every little thing. And yeah, that was great. Um, of course, at the end, Spock talks to the admiral. The
Could
admiral,
you please lower your voice?
yeah, he's hungover, and I think the admiral says to him, "Like, are
Yeah.
you hungover?"
He's like, oh my God, Spock, are you hungover? And then I love the rebuke. He's like, yes, after successful negotiations with the Klingon.
But yeah, he gets a free pass. He doesn't get any sanctions or any demerits or nothing.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
so
because of the thing at the end.
the larger thing,
Yeah,
explain.
because I think it was another admiral that says, "Oh, you let Spock off easy," and he goes, "Well, we're gonna need our best." And he turns
Right,
to the map and he sees Gorn ships on the thing,
right,
entering, coming in
right.
closer and closer to Federation space. So,
Oh man, we're gonna get our Enterprise season three
yeah,
Zindi
oh, absolutely. The Gorn are
war.
definitely going to be a thing, yeah, for sure. Which
Okay.
is cool, which is really, really cool because previous to this, like I said, the only real time that we ever get to see the Gorn, is in the original series episode called The Cage.
Okay.
Ah! But yeah, that's really it. And I'm really excited for the development of the species arc and why they're really not, in the later 24th century.
They are infinitely more interesting to me than the Zindi.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to this
And they've
season.
added some stuff that we never knew before. Like I said during the penultimate episode, there are a lot of things that they've
Right.
added that we've
And
never.
and for our listeners who maybe don't remember, so the Gorn look like Alien, basically, from the movie Alien, or they're the same sort of genre of Alien. They're like that was like a horror episode,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They're
Yeah,
space lizards basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would give this episode to give my rating, my grade, as I say. I'm going like 97%.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
but I feel like there's maybe you're gonna be significantly lower than
No,
me.
not significantly. No, no, no. Okay. I'm. This is a captain's at pips. This is four pips. Um, I loved that they were. I love that the producers were cognizant that the Klingons couldn't be blue, and they went back the
Sure,
traditional Klingon
sure.
thing.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that really gets me going, like that I really, really enjoyed is that there's a little this added to me, this added potentially a gateway into what Spock does and what he is able to achieve in the last original cast movie in the undiscovered country. And I'm not going to
Hmm.
give it away, but this adds to this. This episode adds potentially to what and how he's able to do so in the future, which is really cool because he becomes a I'm not going to call him the chosen one, but he does
Sure.
have like Pike, future Pike says to our Pike, or a future Pike tells Pike,
Right.
"Wow, that was a lot." No,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that Spock plays an important role and in the future, and that's one of the points where he plays an important role between
Okay.
the Federation and the Klingon Empire.
Oh,
Yeah,
intriguing.
yeah.
Okay.
And then before I forget, we get an ensign, or she was promoted, so
Right.
yeah, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and she wasn't even necessarily planning on staying with
Yep,
Starfleet.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yep. So she's an ensign Uhura, and then La'an goes, Ensign? Well, you've missed quite a few staff meetings.
Ensign is the lowest rank, right?
Yeah, yeah, uh-huh, yep,
Okay.
yep.
Very cool.
But other than
Um,
that, like you said, I don't disagree with you. It had everything.
anything you didn't like?
Uh, it's not that I don't like it. I'm very reticent of getting too close and too attached. I'm not going to say too close or too attached, but starting to develop real serious feelings for a coworker while you
Hmm,
are
engaged.
engaged. Although at the same time, in the future, I don't know. She breaks his. Yeah, yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. And also, as he released his emotions last time, he's not necessarily like in the driver's seat as far as his
Yes, no,
emotions
that's
go.
absolutely true. No, that's absolutely true.
And that's
Vulcan
probably
emotions, like
clouding his,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely,
okay. All right.
absolutely. Not that we can't be like friendly and friends and close with a
Hmm.
coworker, but
Yeah.
you know,
No, totally agree. Totally agree. And I think as I was watching it, I assumed maybe he was broken up.
yeah, that's
But
right. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And
But
the funny thing is they play with this quite a bit this season, so buckle up.
uh-oh. Well, I know you said that in the original series, I believe they have a thing.
Yeah, but it's less in your face.
Got it. It's just flirtatious in nature,
Yeah,
perhaps.
especially I'm interested in seeing your, reaction to it, because it's very minor and only in a couple episodes, and this Strange New Worlds, they've taken it to a whole new level.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, anything else with this episode?
Um, No, we've talked. No, I think that's really it. Like again, broad strokes, the Gorn are going to be a thing
I'm glad
in
you
season two.
reminded me of the last part of the episode, setting up the Gorn thing. I had completely forgot about that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure,
So now I feel like I'm in the right mindset for this season.
for
Um,
sure.
yeah, it's going to be a good
And
season.
it's going to take us into season three, I think. No, I
Okay.
know it's going to take us into season three. So the Gorn are going to play a role here
Okay. Cool.
for sure.
All right. Well, how are you holding up without Andor in your life? Are you
You know what? I
recovering?
I am recovering, but I probably shouldn't be saying that too loud because I don't know how many times I've rewatched season two.
Really? Okay.
I
So
have.
I um other than maybe bits and parts, I have not rewatched it.
Mm-hmm. Because there was
So
probably a lot of things that I missed. Sorry, go ahead.
no, yeah, no, that's all I was gonna say. Like, there's probably a shit ton of stuff that I just completely missed, and so yeah,
Yeah, I mean, mostly it's because I really so darn good, especially the Gorman Massacre. But yeah,
yeah,
there are a lot of things in the first round that I missed, and then, like I said, uh, again, I'm gonna try not to be, too much of a sports fan here, where it's like, oh my God, that's the greatest shot I've ever seen, or the greatest game I've ever seen. Without hyperbole, that this is, I mean, I've said it to you before and I'll say it again. I love being a turtle. No, this is my new favorite trilogy for sure. Season one, season two, and Rogue One. And
very
I've
cool.
watched Rogue One a bunch of times, like now
Yeah,
knowing that, like, oh, what he's left behind. And the
yeah,
fact, and it's kind of cool that, like, I know a lot of fans were saying, oh, he should have kissed Jin, he should have kissed Jin. And I'm like, okay, whether that was a thing or not, I love the fact
mhm.
that he didn't because, there was someone waiting for him somewhere.
Right, right. Yeah. So I've seen Rogue One, I don't know, 5 times, 6 times.
Hmm.
I never thought that that there was anything between them.
Yeah, yeah, right, 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 right.
Yeah,
But in the end, you're always like, oh, that would have been, a lot of people would have been like, oh, that would have been fun if he did because that's the way, it's a Western film and, the
yeah.
good guy gets the girl and all that kind of stuff.
I I seriously think that would have ruined it, even without the
Me
Bix
too.
thing, like,
Me too.
because I mean, it wasn't a romantic moment. They didn't have
Right.
any romance between them. It was literally just two people who had accomplished um, what they were doing.
Right.
They were at peace with their decisions, um, and they were in it together. And like there's a lot of themes of like togetherness in this part of, I mean, all of Star Wars, but this one for sure, which is you can't be a lone rebel. You can't be a
Yeah.
Luthen. You need you need to be with others, and like that was the sort of ultimate expression of that. I don't know. If they would have kissed, I would have hated it. So super glad
Yeah.
they didn't.
Yeah.
Um, but now, yeah, I mean, I agree though that like his heart was elsewhere.
Yeah.
Um, so
But yeah,
um,
so I am not recovering. I am still.
nice, nice. I will definitely rewatch it someday. I
Yeah.
just the physical toll that it took to watch that much TV in a week.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
am so once I have a real lull in my life. Like for instance, The Last of Us season 2 just ended. So now
Right.
I don't need to worry about that. And so there will definitely be a need to veg and watch something and then I'll do it then.
For sure.
Yeah. And then so last time, speaking of Rogue One, last time we were talking about of a lot of prequel type things that I've watched, TV
Mm-hmm.
shows mostly, when they try to seamlessly transition from one to the other. I was talking about how difficult that is. But after I said that last time we talked, it dawned on me that I think Rogue One does it better than anything ever. The very last scene, the
Uh,
the scramble to
oh yeah, yeah,
deliver
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
plans
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Leia,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and the fact that it like takes you right to the moment where they're on
yeah,
the Corvette, I think it's called.
yeah. Mm-hmm. The
Um,
Krillian Corvette. Yep.
yeah. Um, Nothing has ever topped that, and maybe ever will.
Yeah.
The the suspense that they added to that moment and how seamless it was
Yep.
into episode four. Um, so it's not like, these creators are not capable of it. So,
Right. So this begs the question
um, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
it's really a story that we didn't need. Really, like
sure.
it didn't need to be told,
Right.
but because it has been now,
Mm,
like I think I know what your answer is gonna be, but I'm curious
yeah.
at like how I know it's probably gonna be a case by case basis or something like that, but like
Hmm.
what other stories did this need to be told? Like did Rogue One actually need to be like did they
Hmm.
actually have to do it? Right? Did as a Star Wars fan, you know, did they have to do it? And you're like, oh, people want a Palpatine backstory or a Yoda
Yeah.
backstory, stuff like
Hmm.
that. So
Yeah.
I'm curious of what your general thing is. Like, does it need to be told? Can we just leave, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What's it's interesting because then it became what it became, and you're like, ooh,
Yeah. Well, for me too, now it's impossible not to use Andor as a frame of reference
yeah,
when thinking about Rogue One. So it's just impossible. And I feel like Andor did need to be told, especially with contemporary politics and
yeah,
things going on. Um, um, I mean, it's just completely had the biggest impact on me, on Andor has.
yeah,
I just connect with it so much.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know about Rogue One though. I don't know if it needed to be told.
yeah. It's really interesting because you're like, well, yeah, it plays a role in but it's like a little thing of like, they decided to create a story based on getting the Death Star plans,
Yeah, right.
and as you said, like a lot of times, in my opinion, and I guess it's yours as well, that you try to jam everything to be like, okay, does that fit here? And
Yeah,
does that break canon? Yeah, it's interesting.
I'm opening another sparkling water.
Yep.
Um,
Oh yeah, what are you drinking?
just my Whole Foods sparkling water.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um, I don't know, man. It's an age-old question that no one has the answer to.
Yeah,
So, but I'm glad they did. I'm glad they did
yeah,
tell the story.
for sure.
And so there was a couple things that you and I were texting about with Andor, things that I did not pick up on because I watched it again, just things that people had put on Twitter and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So one was the idea that when Luthen was on Naboo and he blows
Yeah.
up the bridge,
Oh God.
um,
Yes.
and then like in his gallery,
Yeah.
there's a Gungan
There's a
skull.
Gungan skull. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, so maybe you'll have the answer to this
Yeah.
because I
Did he kill Jar Jar Binks? Oof.
no, no, like when Clea and him when she's young and they're
Yeah.
going around trading trinkets and stuff, and she asks him something to the effect of like, I thought we were going to fight the Empire or something. He's like, who says I'm not? Or like his antique dealing in that moment is somehow related to his fight. And so my question for you is, um, do you think his gallery are mementos of his deeds and they're not just valuable pieces? And if the answer is yes,
I
that
do.
actually lends itself to the Jar Jar
I know,
assassination
I
theory
know.
because
Yeah, I kind of figured after we were texting, I was like, and I went back and watched that episode. I was like, oh my God, this is like, I think this is, yes, it not only funds his, he, like that was his gonna be his thing, right?
yeah,
Like she didn't see it at a young age, obviously, right? The
uh-huh,
long game. He was playing the long game, right?
yeah,
And he had to amass these, you know, items, real or not, to be, to fund the rebellion, right?
hmm.
Um,
But as
yeah,
we
it's
know,
interesting.
he was an officer,
Yeah,
and so by the way, he was Officer Lear. Lear
yeah,
is a an anagram of Real.
yes.
Um,
For royal.
so Real, because he's Luthen Real.
Oh, right.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, I totally
yeah.
thought I totally thought. Okay, all right.
Like you
Again,
take those, you take the four letters of
yeah,
Lear,
yeah,
you
yeah,
flip
yeah,
them
yeah, yeah,
around, you
yeah,
get
yeah,
Real.
yeah, yeah.
So
No, what I was gonna say, I was like, oh, I'm thinking too much into it, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's the Spanish and the French for royal.
oh, nice. Okay. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So um when he was an officer, we see him in this terrible moment where they're basically committing genocide.
yeah,
Um, and so as we know from season one, he has the Kyber crystal, and then there was the whole theory that he was a Jedi because of
yeah,
his staff. But now, with this context of, or the idea that these are mementos of his deeds, I
yeah.
do wonder if he was part of Order 66 and the Kyber crystal was from a Jedi he
That would
killed.
lend itself to that explanation. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Maybe even
absolutely.
the staff was a lightsaber from a Jedi that he killed.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so, the- like, I don't understand, like, of all the skulls and of all the Gungan skulls,
Yeah,
like, why you would do that unless it were like Boss Nass or like, someone of
sure.
like a higher statue, because then it does feed itself into, oh my God, he killed George.
Yeah.
On the
Right.
bridge. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, oh, and you illustrate a point where I was like, because people have pointed that out, I was like, I do need to go back. And I'm like, oh yeah, it is Naboo. Shit.
You and you got to think, I mean, he would hate Jar Jar.
Oh my gosh,
Even though,
yes.
and
Yes.
then, I mean, even though like we know that Jar Jar was just being played and Jar
Yeah.
Jar had no evil intentions,
No, yeah.
someone like Luthen would have no clue
Yeah.
about, he would just see Jar Jar as like the epitome of
Well,
evil.
yeah, because he
Uh,
was the one who went to the Senate floor and goes, Misa
yeah,
thinks we should create emergency powers to the
yeah,
Supreme Chancellor.
yeah, exactly.
Or
Um,
whatever, creation of Grand Army, emergency powers, whatever it was. Yeah.
yeah, something like that, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah. Um, so I
Like,
just, I just love,
oh no. I
I
was
just
like,
love the
oh
theory
no,
so
they did
much.
do that. They
I,
did do that.
I love it so much. I mean, like for a show with no fan service, like what a perfect little
Yeah.
moment of fan service.
Yeah. Yeah. No fan service? Yeah, no, yeah, very little. Yeah, very little fan service. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, maybe K2SO is
It's true.
fan service, but I mean, not really.
It's true. And then
So
the Han Solo, I mean, fan service, Partagas uses a Han Solo type blaster to off himself. So,
yeah, I was thinking about that. Do you think that his fate was
yeah.
Captain Nita? Like, do you think he was going to see Darth Vader, or do you think he was going to
No, I
prison?
think he would have, I think at that point, right. And this is, gosh, and that's part of the thing that I love about, because I went back and I watched the interaction between Krennic and Leo Partagas, and you go, man, that is cruel. Like the cruelty of the Empire within the Empire, right? Like the quashing of everything, right? Like take in episode four, Palpatine eliminates the Senate, and then but in this case, it's the ISB because the Death Star is going to be, has leaked out into be a thing.
Hmm.
And the elimination of these levels and like the centralization of power to the Emperor and then, Tarkin, Vader, Thrawn, Krennic, whomever it is, like at that very top level, like is the cruelty that you're like, oh my gosh, even an entire division of the internal, like the Internal Securities Bureau, just because they effed up on this one and allowed Stardust to get out there. Amazingly cruel and such a, yeah. I think he would have, and I think that's why he offed himself. I think he's like, I'm not going to prison.
Okay.
I'm not going to Narkina 5.
Okay. Because I did just
Why did you think that he was going to go meet
no, I didn't.
apology
When
accepted, Captain Nita?
when I saw it, I assumed his fate was prison, but we're going to talk about Empire Strikes Back in a minute. But
Okay.
you know, in that the way Vader deals with officers who
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fail,
Sure, sure,
um,
sure,
that would be known by those in the Empire,
sure.
and I was wondering, oh, maybe it wasn't prison. Maybe he was going to go talk
I don't think
to
so.
uh,
I don't think so.
to Vader.
I don't think so.
Um, and then, but what you were just talking about, I love how that was like exactly what Nemec's manifesto was saying.
Yep.
You know, something like that's why oppression is so unnatural. It takes so much effort,
Yes.
and this is the perfect example of that
Exactly.
because Daedra literally was accidentally forwarded the email.
Yeah, exactly.
I just thought I thought that was so brilliant of like that's exactly what they're
Yep.
saying. Like you can't um do what the Empire is doing and not plug every little leak.
Yep.
And so of course something like that would happen.
Control,
And
control, control.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it's unnatural. It
Yep.
cannot be sustained and then it's their undoing. I
And
just love it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, buddy. That's why I keep harping on this, but that is so much why I love Andor in all of its things is because it pulls back the simple. And I know Star Wars fans, not everyone agrees, but I love that they pull back the curtains and expose the actual sociology of a
Mm,
rebellion and the Empire.
yeah,
It
absolutely.
wasn't always just, yay, we're going along, and we're fighting the rebels, and we're fighting the Empire, blah 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 blah. No, that's why it's so brilliant.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally agree. Um,
And the fact that she didn't forward that email and kept it to herself.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
She didn't forward it to her bosses. Just like, yeah, I didn't think it was necessary.
uh, no, I'm looking forward to rewatching it someday. Um, Okay, I think that was it for the Andor stuff,
Okay,
unless
yep.
there's anything
No, I
else.
don't think so.
Yeah,
Although I
okay,
do want
so
to say, hang on. I,
yeah.
I I would love to see Genevieve O'Reilly in something else. Please let there be a Star Wars Mon Mothma. I know that most Star Wars fans won't want that, but please let there be a Star Wars Mon Mothma.
Oh yeah. What if they did one you know, pre-episode 6, like an
Yeah,
older Mon Mothma?
yeah, that would be cool.
Mini Bothans. She could
Many
we could
Bothans
we could
died to
get
bring us
we
the
could get an
information.
entire franchise around that little nugget,
No!
just like they did stealing the Death Star plans again.
So, okay, so where were those Bothans?
Oh, I don't know. I know it's explained in the animated stuff, but I don't know.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm like, was Jin a Bothan or what?
No, because that's Death Star 2.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That
That's
is
Return of the
Death Star
Jedi.
2. That's
Yeah.
right. Oh man, we do need that now. We do. We
There
do.
you yeah, see? All right,
If
you're
we
on board
plan that still, absolutely. We need Boffins.
now. Um okay, so this weekend I saw The Empire Strikes Back, but with the twist. So it was at the Phoenix Symphony Hall,
Oh, to live
massive,
music.
massive music screen to live music. It was, it was, it reignited my love for Star Wars. It was mind blowing. It was
Okay.
so, so good.
Yeah.
It was, so the Phoenix Symphony with the full orchestra,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
brass and
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
Um,
They're doing a summer movie series.
they Well, this one goes like year long because they're also doing like
Oh, okay.
Harry Potter later in the year. But so it was the movie Empire Strikes Back
Yep.
without the music, but it still had the dialogue and the sound
Yeah, 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 yeah,
effects
yeah, 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 yeah.
and the
Yep,
Phoenix
yep.
Symphony, and they were mic'd up. You could see the mics,
Yep.
and they played the entire thing. I
Yep.
mean, literally, they played the 20th Century Fox
Yeah, 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 yeah.
drums,
Yep, yep,
the
yep,
snare
yep.
drum, dun, dun,
Yep.
dun, dun,
Yep.
and which was hilarious. Everybody laughed,
Yep.
and literally they played the end credits too.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
they played every single note of the experience.
Yes.
Um, and and so it had subtitles as well because um, the Battle of Hoth is so chaotic, definitely on the big screen.
Yeah.
And then you add in the music, but it's also live and mic'd up.
Yep.
Um, there was points where you couldn't even hear Leia talking because of the music, which was fine, not a complaint at all. But they played it perfectly. I mean, they had the Darth Vader march theme
Mm-hmm.
multiple times,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounded like recording quality as far as like how perfectly it was played, but
Yeah.
obviously it wasn't a recording, it was
Sure,
right
sure, sure.
there.
It was live. Yeah.
And then it was mic'd up too. But it was just like super loud in a good way. But
Mm-hmm.
but then also it was surround sound.
Yeah.
So like, you know, and he was off camera for a second. It sounded like he was behind us, or even like some of the R2D2 noises or C3PO, it sounded like it was behind us.
Uh-huh.
Um, it was, oh my God, it was literally life changing. Like there were
Yeah.
so many times I choked up, like the first time you see Leia and her theme starts playing, um,
Yeah, uh-huh.
there's just a tight shot of her like on Hoth. Um, and it was just so, so good. I mean, I've seen Empire Strikes Back 70 times, 80 times probably in my life.
Yeah.
Um, but to me, honestly, Jason, this was like the definitive
Yeah.
way to watch it.
Yeah. Definitely.
It was so amazing.
Awesome.
And it's just like, and just like the way the humor held up, and then just the experience with the audience there, because it was obviously a bunch of Star Wars nerds watching the symphony. Oh, and it had an intermission, obviously.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
Okay. Okay. Yep.
yeah. if and so it was put on by Disney Concerts, so it might be a touring thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
if anyone has a chance to watch it, I cannot recommend it enough. It was it was the definitive Empire Strikes Back experience.
Mm-hmm.
Totally reignited my love for Star
Mm-hmm.
Wars. Um, and I know we're talking about all this praise for Andor, but like I almost don't even consider Andor Star Wars, but
Sure.
you know what I mean
Yeah,
by
yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
definitely.
like the classic Star
Yeah,
Wars, like
definitely, definitely, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
oh God, it was so good,
Yeah.
so good. And
So
like you
which
know,
version did they play?
it was the CGI wampum ice creature
Oh, okay, okay.
arm
Because
chopped off,
really,
and
that's really it.
they added some stuff in Bespin in the windows in the
Oh,
OG,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
when you
That's right.
look out
That's
the
right. That's
windows,
right.
there's
That's
nothing
right. That's
there.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And
That's
then
right. Yep.
also the Ian McDiarmid as the
Yeah.
Emperor
Yeah, yeah.
versus the Wicked Witch of the
Clive
West.
Owen. Yeah, Clive or I forget his name. I think he recently passed, unfortunately.
So the footage
Clive Revel. Clive Revel. Sorry.
is a lady. It's the Wicked Witch of
Yeah.
the West.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they voice over her.
Yeah.
Um so there was that change as well, which I think
Yeah.
was after the CGI
It
stuff.
was after. Yes,
Yeah.
I believe you are correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So so Empire that is that I was like, okay, that is the one that stands out to me where I'm like, okay, he didn't go back and mess it
Right.
up
Ruin it.
too much. Yeah, he didn't ruin
Yeah.
it. That was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, adding Bespin, the more of the city up in the clouds, and then the snow monster.
Yeah, the wampum ice
The
creature.
wampum ice creature. Yes.
That scene should not have been added, by the way. It should have remained a mysterious growling beast that you barely see.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My daughter's like, what is that creature eating? I'm like, it's the tauntaun. I'm sorry. Because of course the kids are gonna fall in love with the tauntaun, and then you
Yeah, yeah,
show
yeah,
the
yeah.
creature chewing on like, looks like a rack of lamb basically, and
Yep.
it's just like, okay.
Well, you know what, kids, circle of life, that's nature.
But yeah, um, it was it was incredible. So anybody, Disney concerts, thank you to Disney concerts. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Um,
So can I add just the fact that something similar, so I we've so Vancouver, Portland, and Seattle have been doing this like for years. Like San Francisco too, I think a lot of the symphonies do this, have been doing this for a really long time.
okay,
Um, I must say that I had a similar experience with A New Hope. Seeing A New
okay,
Hope
yeah,
in the symphony, unbelievable, fantastic. She's fantastic. And like you said,
yeah,
they did the 20th Century Fox and they did it all the way to the end. The cool thing about Vancouver Symphony Orchestra when they did that one was they would lower their playing when there was
right,
dialogue.
right.
And so it'd
Well,
just be
okay,
like, "Da-da."
so I, I've said this before on this podcast. When I was a
Mhm.
kid, Star Wars was my bedtime stories. I had a VCR and a TV in my room,
Oh, okay.
and for years, every single night, I would watch it and fall asleep
Oh,
to it. And
wow.
so that's how I've watched it so many times. But I'm at the point where I know every word of dialogue, but I also know every note of music,
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
like just automatically.
Yeah,
It's just there in my head. I
yeah.
know every single note of every single piece. And so um yeah, they did the same thing, but it was like it was the like version in the film because the film does the
Right.
same thing, right?
Right.
It's still there, but it's very quiet. And there's like only like three or four scenes where there's no music, like when Luke's like sort of walking through Bespin to confront Vader. That's like one of the only times when there's not at least some music playing.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Um, but
Did you pick up on anything though live in terms of the music that wasn't necessarily catchable in the film?
yeah, only in the Battle of Hoth.
Oh,
There
okay.
there's a one stretch, and it's only maybe 10 seconds where I was like, oh, that that piece doesn't really come through
Right.
on on the small screen. To the point where I was like, there's actually like a little bit here that I don't have memorized by heart. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But but for the most part, it was just a
Awesome.
perfect blend or a perfect performance
Yeah, 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 yeah.
of the film. So
Okay.
it was so awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, and then afterwards, have you been to Harumi Sushi here in
Yep.
town?
Yep.
Okay,
We have.
because we haven't been there with you,
No.
because that's relatively close to the symphony. So we walked
Yep.
over there
Yep.
afterwards.
Yep. It's
Um,
right in that center of like all the art stuff.
yeah, so it has like the purple rice and
Hmm.
okay. Because I was gonna say next time you guys are in town, we need to go because it
Yeah,
was
yeah, no, definitely. We absolutely love that. We enjoyed that place for sure.
okay, cool. Yeah, it was an incredible meal.
Yeah, it's really good.
They had vegan rolls. They had a Japanese sweet potato one. That was divine. Um,
Awesome.
we also got the I so you introduced me to the fruit uh oh my God, now I can't remember what it's called.
Oh yeah,
Lychee,
lychees. Okay, okay, yeah,
lychee. Yeah.
yeah.
So they had like a lychee spritz,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
it actually had the peeled lychee in it.
yeah.
Um, and that was amazing.
That's a popular thing these days, like a lychee or longan, or like they do it with a lot of like we've seen it in a lot of Asian restaurants where they'll do like, oh yeah, this is a lychee spritz, and you can get it obviously with vodka or whatever spirit, or you can get it non-alcoholic for sure. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
popular these days.
yeah. And of course we got Wagyu. It was $14 a bite, but it was good.
Hang
It was
on,
worth
hang on,
it.
hang on, hang on, hang on. Here's a thing. This is a point of contention for me.
I love
Even
this.
though I don't
Go,
eat beef,
go, buddy,
even
go.
even though I don't
Yeah,
eat beef.
yeah.
So was it like Japanese Wagyu or
I don't
American?
know. I don't know.
See, this is the restaurateur. This is the restaurant business. Like one of the crimes against Americans is the fact that okay, little soapbox here, but
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Wagyu is just a species of cow.
Sure.
Like, why would you pay extra unless you know
Mhm.
you're getting Japanese A5 Wagyu?
Sure.
Because in America, our like macro agra like
Hmm.
industrialized complex
Yeah.
isn't going to take the time to fatten up and marbleize and massage and beer up a Wagyu cow. So why would you pay
Yeah.
like more money
Uh-huh.
for just the name? Because you're
Sure.
not gonna get that like you're just not gonna get that like I want to say service, but yeah, the care that
Hmm.
Japanese farmers of the A Wagyu beef is
Yeah.
going to care for. So it's like, okay, sure.
Well, I'll say this. So you've been to Harumi. It comes across as very authentic.
Yeah, 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 definitely.
Um, but I'll say I did blindly trust that it was
Japanese
Japanese.
A5. Did it have the marbling?
It was like torched,
Yeah,
and it
sure,
was
sure,
it
sure, sure,
was
sure.
nigiri style.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, and I just frankly just didn't look that close, and it
So
didn't
was
seem
it
like
like butter though?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, 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 cool.
Um,
As long as it's good, I'm just saying.
it was very good. But I mean, you bring up a good point. I did blindly trust that it was Japanese
Yeah.
imported,
Hmm. Hmm.
especially considering the price.
Right. 14
But
bucks is hefty for a
yeah,
piece. One piece or two piece?
one, one piece.
Oh, then that gives me pause to say that might have been Japanese
Yeah,
Wagyu. Potentially not A5, but like some at least Japanese. Yeah.
sure. And then I was going to ask you what's up with the purple rice? What is that? Do you know?
Yeah, so like that's a big thing in Korean cuisine, and they add black rice usually to white
Okay.
rice to make it
Yeah.
purple. And then a lot of times it's like, they'll add barley and something else. I have it in my pantry, but yeah, it
Okay.
doesn't make it like healthier in like that regard, but it does give it more texture. And I mean, I guess it does give a little bit healthier to the addition of like the black rice. But yeah, it's just black rice added to white rice,
Okay.
and it
Got
makes it
it.
purple. It's fun.
All right.
It's fun. Did they
It
use
is
that
fun.
as the sushi?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, I
that's like
don't
their
remember that.
signature thing.
Oh,
So
I
like
don't remember that.
if you talk to like foodies around here, they'll it's very popular. We were surprised we were able to walk in um on a Saturday. But that's the thing everybody says. Oh, the place with the purple rice. Um,
Oh,
so
okay,
yeah,
okay, okay, okay.
yeah.
I don't
And
remember that.
I had never been. Um,
Ah,
and I think Becky had gone, but I was glad to finally go. And so next time you're in town, we need to go
yeah,
there
yeah, no, absolutely.
because
We
I think
absolutely
it's my new
enjoyed.
favorite sushi place. So yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it was really good. Because we had just oh, you know what it was? We spent the day at Pam
Oh, nice. Okay.
and was like oddly kind of hungry and then not enough hungry because we didn't because we had dinner somewhere. I think it was with you guys. And we went and we were like, okay, let's just grab some sushi and didn't think of
Well,
anything of it.
you nailed it, man. That was the place to go.
Okay.
Anyway, think we're good. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I mean, so what else are they so are you gonna take Linnea to to Harry Potter when that
um,
rolls around as you
I don't
said?
know.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, maybe. I The reason I'm saying maybe, I actually don't know if they're going to play the movie. I know it's part of the same series, but if it's just the music of Harry Potter,
It could just be the music. Okay.
I feel like I've seen, you know, nothing could ever live up to that, and so now like it. So I just yeah,
And then
um,
was it so when you were a kid though, was
yeah.
it just Empire Strikes Back or was it the
It
entire
was
trilogy?
it was all of them. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
and it was some sort of special edition where um but because it was VHS and I wasn't gonna like fast forward every time. Um so I would watch it at the beginning of each movie. There's an interview um conducted by Leonard Maltin
Oh,
and
cool.
George Lucas.
Oh, cool.
And so like a lot of the stuff that I
That's
always
awesome.
like knew about Star Wars was from these interviews.
Yeah.
And they're like, 10-minute interviews or whatever. But it's just him asking, you know, about certain decisions. And he talks about like why he wrote Yoda the way he did and stuff like that. And So yeah, I would watch those every time, but it was all three movies. And we're talking for years, like just every single night. Pop it in. Sometimes I would watch
That's
a big
awesome.
chunk of it. Sometimes I would
That's
fall asleep
awesome.
within 10 minutes, but yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think back to that, I'm like, I wonder if I was keeping up the whole house, like just blaring Star Wars in the middle of the night. No one ever said
If
anything
no
to
one
me,
ever
but
said anything, I
no
doubt
one
it.
ever said anything to
Yeah,
me.
I
But
doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it.
yeah, I could be wrong.
It's all.
Anyway, all right.
All right.
Um, well, um, everybody, thanks for watching and listening. We appreciate it. And please follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and subscribe to us on YouTube. And you can find us on X. Um, I don't know, anything else?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you. Jason, thank you. It's always a
Thank you,
pleasure.
buddy. Yep, always.
Um, yeah, and until next time, live long and prosper.
And may the force be with you.
See ya. All right, my
All
man.
right, buddy.
Have a good weekend,
Yep, you too.
and